Hey y'all, it's your girl Mama V here, and we are here for another baking day, and I'm excited to show you guys chocolate cupcakes made from scratch with a easy whipped topping. And so this is actually from Jemma Cupcakes. I love her. I've actually watched a lot of her like master technique YouTube videos, and this has helped bring my cooking and my understanding of the ingredients to a whole nother level, y'all. So credit to her. So like I said, it is a chocolate cupcake. It could also be a chocolate cake, just switch the pan, made from scratch. And so here we go, y'all. So what this consists of is your regular all-purpose flour, some cocoa powder. I use a Hershey cocoa powder. As y'all know, I vouch for like ingredients that I feel like will have a different effect on it. I've tried off-brand cocoa powders and the chocolate just doesn't taste the same. So Hershey's, and then I also have some Ghirardelli chocolate chips. Again, quality is really important in baking, and I feel like they did have Hershey chocolate chips, but with Hershey's candy, I don't know if you guys have eaten a bunch of chocolate like I have, but I've had like a Hershey's bar, and if you notice, it has like a very thick consistency to it, which is okay, but I feel like one candy bar is enough, right? Versus if you have like a Linden chocolate, if you ever tried them, it's a lot more creamy. You taste a lot more of the cocoa in it, and so I think the Ghirardelli chocolate chips really does have a different flavor, especially since our base is gonna be chocolate. You want to make sure all your chocolate ingredients are the best that you know to your taste. And I have some eggs. We have some cooled regular coffee here. You want to make sure this is chilled. We have some vegetable oil, some sugar, and baking soda and salt, and your buttermilk. All right, I started learning a little bit more about buttermilk from a lot of different really good recipes. So here we go, y'all. We're gonna go into it. So 2 bowls, sifter is a must, and a whisk. We're gonna do old school mixing. So we're gonna do our dry ingredients first, and as y'all know, put the sifter over the bowl. So I'm just gonna move these to the side so you guys can see it a little bit better, yo. Alright, yo. So this is about 350 grams of all-purpose flour, and I do have a scale. It measures in grams and milliliters, which has come in very handy. And again, you just want to make sure that none of the flour goes over to the side. You want all of that sifted in there. Alright, and before I actively start sifting, I'm gonna go ahead and put my sugar in there. So this is about 370 grams of regular granulated sugar. Alright, y'all. And then we have our 1 teaspoon of baking soda and a pinch of salt. For you guys who are like, what is a pinch of salt? I would say about 1/4 teaspoon is a pinch of salt. Salt goes a long way. A little bit goes a long way with salt, so you don't want to overdo it. And then our last mixed ingredient for our dry is 60 grams of the cocoa powder. You can find the cocoa powder in the baking section. It's not the same as cocoa has hot chocolate. You gotta use cocoa baking powder, not the hot chocolate one. All right. So y'all, I'm gonna just sift it on through there. All right, y'all. So I'm gonna just sift this on through. The best way to lessen your mess and get everything everywhere is tap as much as you can. It might take a little bit longer, but good things come to people who wait, right? And I like sifting the cocoa powder because the cocoa powder tends to happen in it gets in chunky in its container. So it's good to have it be able to evenly distribute itself amongst the mixture. Alright, so now I feel a little bit better. And I might just go on and get that bad boy in there. See how If you've seen the last video, it wasn't this hard to do the flour, but the cocoa, you actually gotta press it down so it can get in there. Alright, see those chunks there? You don't want it, you don't care about it, toss it to the side. So we have our cocoa and flour mixture. I'm also, I can't show you, I don't want to tilt it. But the flour mixture's on the top and the cocoa sat on the, the flour mixture's on the bottom and the cocoa sat on the top of it. And then our last thing is your chocolate chips. Of course, you cannot put that through the sifter. So I would just go ahead and give it a little mix. Make sure that chocolate chip gets in between there. And a little bit fine out. You can also get like the cooking chocolate bars, the cooking ones, and you can chop them up into little dices and use that instead. So I'm gonna put the dry mixture aside, y'all, and I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna do our wet mixture first. So, put that there. We have our oil. So you wanna put your oil in there, and so it's about 210 ml of oil. Make sure that is good in there. Tap it a little bit, and then you have your 240 of buttermilk here. So you want to put that in there. Buttermilk is not the same as milk, so buttermilk kind of has like a little tarty flavor to it, and what it does, it helps create a little bit more tender moisture cupcake. And so that is really important here. And it creates like that tartness. You have a lot of sweetness going on, so that it helps balance out where it's not too sweet and overpowering, which is why I really like this recipe. Then you have cooled coffee. So you don't want it to be hot. You want it to be pretty chilled and cold. If not room temperature, then you know, like it just came out of the fridge. I don't know what that temperature turns out to. But the reason why you want it cooled is because we are gonna add our eggs, and we don't want our eggs to cook because of the hot coffee. You want the eggs to cook in the oven, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and pour 240 milliliters of my cooled coffee in there. And this is not your instant mix coffee. This is like, I brewed it through a Keurig, a coffee maker. And then we are going to go ahead and pop our eggs in there. Y'all just want to make sure not to get any of the eggshells in there, because it's not cute. Rookies mistake 101 is getting that egg shell in there. Oh, see, even when I messed it up when I was hitting it, I just put it to the side, and then once I feel like there's no egg in there, egg shell, put it like that. Alright, y'all, so we are gonna go ahead and whip it up a little bit and mix it, and so you guys can see the texture of it. I'll do a close-up. Alright, so y'all have a regular whisk. It's all separated right now, and what we want to do is mix it all together. You also want to make sure that your egg yolk is broken, so that's what I'm kind of getting that the egg yolk broken. Oh, see, egg yolk down there is still full. Gotta get it. And it's okay if it's a little separated, obviously, because it's the oil and all that, but if you get at least the buttermilk and the eggs mixed in, then I would say you're good to go. It's really that egg that I want to make sure is well mixed in. Alright, y'all, so you have your wet mix and you have your dry mix here. And what you're gonna do is, like I did in the other one, you want to make sure, I'm going to put this whisk aside, we don't need it right now. Might sit over the table. There you go. So what we are going to do now is we're going to mix our wet ingredients into the dry ingredients. It doesn't matter which way you do it, it's just my dry ingredients bowl is a little bit bigger. So I'm gonna do about half of that, half of the wet ingredients, and then now I'm going to go ahead and take my whisk and slowly start mixing it in. Alright, so I'm done mixing it here, y'all. Ooh. You can smell a little bit of the coffee and the chocolate. I'm trying to get that last chocolate chip through. And the good thing about this is you don't really taste the coffee. It's really to enhance that chocolate flavor. So I have my cupcake tins here, and I have it's a regular standard size cupcake tin. It has 12. I have my cupcake fillings in here. I had some left from what I made them last week. I made the caramel version of these last week. I'll show y'all that in a couple of weeks, but the caramel version of this is pretty good, but this is the base. So I'm gonna just put my lining in there. So I have all my cupcake linings in there. And I'm gonna go ahead and I have the oven already going at 325. So you have to make sure to preheat your oven. The reason why you wanna preheat your oven is because it really creates the accuracy of time that you have to bake it. So say I don't have my oven, you know, preheated, and I just turn on the oven and I pop in my goodies, right? For a good maybe 5-6 minutes of my timer, the cupcakes are actually not baking evenly because the heat's still trying to warm it up, versus I have it preheated while I started making the cupcakes and it's already hot and ready to go, so that way it's creating even cook and my time accuracy is correct. So preheating is very important. And I'm gonna use my regular measuring spoon. So this is 1/3 of a cup. And I'm gonna use this to scoop it into my cupcake mixture into the cupcake tins. And I use this because you see how kind of runny and messy it is. In order to reduce the amount of edge cleaning I have to do, I use this. And the reason why I also like using the the measuring cup mix is because you want your, like I said with the cookies, you want this to be the same size so that way they cook at the same rate. So about 1/3 cup fills it up about almost all the way. I'm not doing anything special with this, so I do want it to rise quite a bit above the cupcake lining, so that's why I think 1 cup is about perfect. And the one thing I do advise is, if you guys can see here, I do grab my cupcake, I do grab the cup measure and I kind of scoop it, because sometimes the chocolate chips fall to the bottom of it, and so I want to make sure to get enough chocolate chips in each mixture. Alright guys, so I'm gonna go ahead and fill up the rest of my cupcake tins. Alright y'all, so I'm done filling up my cupcake tins. As you guys can see here, it's all ready to go. I'm gonna go ahead and pop these into the oven. Hey y'all, so my cupcakes are just coming out of the oven. They smell really good. I don't want to pick up the pan because it's still hot, like literally a second ago it came out. But I'll do a close-up. But as you can see, they've kind of peaked, and I kind of want that round top because I'm gonna do just a simple frosting, so it helps the frosting shape as a little cone a little bit better than it's peaking. So now for a little close-up. So these are all out. I'm gonna wait for them to cool before I go ahead and put my homemade whipped cream frosting. All right, y'all, so we have our cupcakes, all 2 dozen of them hanging out here. I just want to show you, this one kind of broke because it fell, but this one is super soft. As you can see, the top goes inside. And then also I just want to show you guys the inside of that. That's why I love the chocolate chip chunks on top of the cocoa powder, is because the chocolate chip doesn't fully melt and incorporate itself into the cupcakes. It creates like these pockets of like moisture and chocolate goodness. So yes, I will go ahead and put that aside here, and we are going to go ahead and create our homemade whipped cream. So we have your regular bowl here, and it's really quick. We have your heavy whipping cream here, some vanilla extract, and some regular granulated sugar. You can also use a little bit of powdered sugar. And so I'm gonna go ahead and we are gonna get this party started for this. So for this, you are going to need 3 cups of heavy whipping cream. This is always a little bit hard to open for me. All right, so we got that opened up, and what I'm using is a half of cup here. So then we are going to need 6 of these to create that 3 cup heavy whipping cream. All right, y'all. So that is 3 cups of heavy whipping cream, and I always use this to get that little excess out. I am not, every little drop counts, all right? So let's go ahead and set that aside. And then let's go ahead and see. So let's go ahead and add our vanilla extract, and we are going to need about 1 to 1.5 teaspoons. I like the flavor of the vanilla. Don't use imitation vanilla. It does make a difference. Use pure vanilla extract. So I'm gonna put about 1.5 there. There we go. So I'm gonna close that up. And I do have a little paper towel on the side so that way you don't have to always constantly wash your, rinse off your thing. And then what else I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add 5 tablespoons of granulated sugar here. So it's gonna sweeten up that whipped cream a little bit. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That one was a little bit low, so I'm gonna add a little bit more. All right, y'all. Close this on up. Make sure we don't drop anything, spill any of these ingredients. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my little whisk. I have a hand electric mixer, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and mix it up until it creates that fluffy texture that you have of whipped cream. So I'll do a close-up of this, y'all. Alright, y'all, so I just finished mixing my homemade whipped cream, and to show y'all kind of what it is. So see, it's kind of fluffy here, and I'll do a close-up. But I did do it exactly almost at 5 minutes. So for the first minute, I did it on low speed because it's still pretty liquidy. And then about at 2:30, I went ahead and did it full speed at high. And then about a minute before I thought a minute, so about 4-minute mark, I went ahead and put it back at medium speed so I wouldn't overmix it. And also what I want to say is, so I am using a hand mixture, right? If you're using like the KitchenAid automatic mixer, you're gonna have a balloon whisk. So to get that same effect with the hand mixer, you have like this whisk attachment, and while you're whisking it at high speed, I'm moving it around in the bowl to make sure everything gets equally whisked. All right, and so I'm gonna go ahead and do a close-up of what the texture of it looks like. So see, guys, you guys hear that? It kind of flops around. So a little bit under 5 minutes here. See how frothy that is, and that texture you see there. All right, y'all, so we are going to do our final touches on the cupcake. I have the whipped cream here, and honestly, the reason why I like the whipped cream frosting or any type of whipped frosting is the regular buttercream frosting is a little bit thick and heavy for my palate, and so I love everything whipped. So let me see here. I'm going to have the perfect peak, my perfect cupcake, and this is for you guys who aren't regular bakers. You could use the spatula and a regular butter knife and just, you know, ice it. You want a little better look to it, and what you want to do is, so I have a regular Ziploc bag. I'm gonna cut a little bit of that corner. So I ran out of my piping bags, and I have my star tip here. And I'm gonna cut the corner a little bit bigger than the star tip, so the star tip fits halfway through, but it's not gonna go all the way through, right? So you have your star tip there, and what I'm gonna do is open this bag as wide as you can, and you're gonna do your whipped cream in there. This whipped cream is, for the most part, it's not gonna withstand a lot of heat. And this is gonna go, these cupcakes are gonna go to my parents' house. I told them that I was gonna make some more baked goods. But if I was making this for like an event or something that I want the whipped cream to not melt, I would add an extra ingredient to it, and I'll make sure to show that in our future videos. But this is your quick homemade one. So you have your cupcake, you have your frosting in here, and I'll show you guys a quick way of. All right, y'all, so you have your star tip there, and you're gonna squeeze in order for that star tip to come out. Oh, I didn't let the air bubbles out before, so you can see. But see, I just do that. I need to work on my piping skills, I get that. But see, good old cupcake there. Alright, y'all, so we have our very simple homemade whipped cream and cupcakes here. And, you know, I very much appreciate you guys for watching. And the good thing about this is these cupcakes you can make with your kids. I have done it with my girls before, and what I do is I pre-measure the bowls and have them in various different bowls, and then I tell them, you know, what they can mix, what they can put in, and they love it. They love the way the cupcake tastes. So if y'all see there, look at that. You have your perfect little chocolate cupcake, and it's nice and moist there. And look at that breaking. I'll get a close-up of the breaking.